An American Airlines flight has collided mid-air with a helicopter, a military helicopter, in Washington, D.C. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration said it happened whilst on approach to runway 33 at Reagan Washington National Airport at around 9 p.m. local time. The jet, we understand, was carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew, whilst 3 U.S. Army soldiers were on board the Black Hawk military helicopter. President Donald Trump says that he's been briefed on what he has described as the terrible accident and went on to thank emergency responders for their incredible work. Police divers and boats have been searching the water now for a number of hours, looking for survivors, whilst the US federal authorities have begun their investigation. OK, let's cross to our correspondent live from the scene, Merrill Thomas. Merlin, you're there. Merlin, you're there. First off, just take us through the timeline of what happened.
So what we know is that a commercial airline, the American Airlines, collided mid-air with an Army Black Hawk helicopter. And as you said, there were 60 passengers on board the commercial airline, as well as 4 crew members. And there were also 3 soldiers on board the helicopter as well. And just in the last few minutes as well, we've seen reports that at least 18 bodies were recovered from the river. That's according to our official partners, CBS. But just to say, there is no official update on the number of casualties as of yet, and this is still a developing story. But that collision occurred here at around 9 p.m. local time, and it happened mid-air, and it happened as the commercial airline was on its approach to runway 33. And the scene that you can see behind me is the airport itself. So you can see the blue and red sirens behind me and the blackness to my left. And that is the river, as you can see here. And there is a flurry of activity as the emergency operation is underway. We know that there are emergency divers and police boats and emergency rescue operations very much underway. But just to remind you, it's midnight here local time, and so it's extremely cold and it's dark, and that will make that rescue operation all that much harder. And you know, we're constantly seeing more and more official police cars and emergency responders arriving at this airport, and we are expecting to hear a press conference in about half an hour, and we'll expect more updates regularly throughout the night as well.
OK, Merlin, let's just go back to the crash itself. I understand that there has been some audio that's been released from air traffic control. We are waiting for more information on that. But what have eyewitnesses described in the minutes leading up to that crash?
We've spoken to people here at the scene, and they didn't want to be named, but one did tell me that they actually witnessed the moment of the collision itself. So they saw the fireball of the collision itself, and it was a bright orange in the sky, and then it fell down into what this person thought was the river. And he heard a loud boom sound as the collision happened, and he described to me how scared and terrified he was, that he wanted to fall to his knees just watching the moment happen before him. Couldn't quite believe his eyes. And so there's very much a lot of confusion here, and people have been arriving at the airport trying to find out what's happening. Some people who have arrived expecting their loved ones to arrive on other flights, which have now been rerouted to other airports. All flights have been ground to a halt here. There are no flights taking off or landing here at all in the next few hours, at least, that we know of. But we'll expect to hear more updates as we go through the night more regularly.
OK, so let me just reiterate what Merlin has told us. There is a ground stop. It's referred to as a ground stop. This is a traffic management initiative, which means that aircraft that meet specific criteria need to remain on the ground at their origination airport. So there is a ground stop in place at Reagan National Airport. No flights coming in, no flights coming out. Merlin, there are 2 helicopters that are operating in the area, and this is part of the search and rescue that is taking place at the moment. What exactly are those helicopters doing? What can you see them doing? They have, I presume, very bright spotlights on board. What have you seen?
Yeah, I can hear them whirring above me now. You can hear that sound. And they are just monitoring the situation. And we know that there are lots and lots of emergency responders on site, dozens of fire trucks and police attending to the scene, as well as divers which have been sent from neighbouring states like Maryland as well, which are part of the rescue operation. And we also know that the US Coast Guard is also involved in this operation as well. And this will be a massive operation, and it will be made all the more difficult by the fact that it is extremely cold here. The temperature is cold even in the air, and so it will be even colder in the water as well, where this rescue operation is ongoing as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of, a week or just over a week that we had the inauguration of Donald Trump, and because of that truly frigid weather, it was moved indoors. What are the conditions like along the river itself at the moment? Was it frozen over, the Potomac River?
Upstream, it is frozen in parts. Here, it's hard to see because it's so dark. It's just past midnight. It's very dark here, and as I say, it is very cold. And so those rescue divers and this police will be operating in very frigid, cold conditions. And as you said, we've had a spell of that here in DC, and that is exactly what prompted the inauguration to be moved indoors. And so, the city is just recovering from that, and so there will be some of the river will still be frozen over. We've seen elsewhere some of the tidal basin, other bodies of water in the city here are still frozen over, and it was just a few days ago that there was still snow and ice on these streets as well. So the temperatures are very cold and the conditions are very difficult.